What?
Yeah, Channel Zero with little Bow Wow. How you doing? Look at her. She's so cute. Girl, you so, hey. Are you for, oh, he is, he dope. Hey, what's up with you, man?
This kid right here dominated the 90s. There was a time when Bow Wow made both kids and adults go wild. He was packing stadiums, selling records, topping charts, living the dream life of any artist. And he did that since was a kid. But everything changed at some point. At some point, Bow Wow just fell off the map and into irrelevance. But worse than irrelevance, he became goofy. It's insane when you think of it, but I'm gonna show you how it all happened. I will show you how one of the industry's youngest and most promising acts became its most disrespected. This is the tragic fate of Bow Wow. Young, talented, and famous. Bow Wow was born Shad Gregory Moss in Columbus, Ohio. He was raised by a single mother named Teresa Rena Caldwell. His father, Alfonso Preston Moss, was an alcoholic. And while they both shared parenting of their son, it was Bow Wow himself that decided he didn't want to have anything to do with his pops because of his old man's alcoholism. He was really young when he made his decision, but he was even younger when he developed a love for rap music. At the tender age of 3, Bow Wow was running through rhymes when he could barely walk. At the time, he was nicknamed Kid Gangsta, and by age 6, he would find his mentors on the front of an NWA vinyl record. For most people, this is where the story ends. But for Shad Moss, this was the prelude of the beginning of an incredible career that would shock everyone in the industry. And it began with a freak incident.
He was discovered by Snoop at a concert that you took him to, but what I found most interesting is somebody called you who knew at 5 he rapped and said, take him to the concert tonight. To this day, you don't know who that is, right?
I have no idea who that was.
Dr. Dre was on the Chronic tour and someone just anonymously sent tickets for the tour for the little boy. If that doesn't sound like destiny, I do not know what destiny is. To cut the long story short, while they were in the concert, the promoter asked if there was anyone that wanted a chance in the limelight with Dre on stage. Shad Moss wanted. So his mother lifted him up, high on her shoulders, and Shad Moss was chosen. When he got on stage, the little rapper was electric. He wasn't timid, he didn't fear, and he had the charisma for the rhymes he was spitting. Now, it's unclear how many people were impressed by his performance, but one thing that is abundantly clear is that Snoop Dogg loved the little man on the spot, and on the spot he was determined to make him a star. But first things first, Snoop Dogg anointed the young blood, called him Young Snoop. Now there's a reason why I said this phase was a prelude before the prelude of his life, because while Snoop Dogg wanted to make Shad Moss a star, there were several conflicts that were holding him back. Conflicts like how hardcore the Death Row label was, and how it was wrong for this kid he had now named Young Snoop. So he decided to change the kid's name from Young Snoop to Lil Bow Wow.
I got the name Bow Wow. I was on tour with Snoop at the time, and everybody had dog names. You know, Snoop Dogg and the Dog Pound, and then Snoop was like, we're gonna start calling you Bow Wow. So I was like, okay. Then ever since, everybody just started calling me Bow Wow.
He made the change because he didn't want the kid to get caught up in the shadow of his legacy or constantly be compared to him. But there were still issues. Dre had left Death Row and Snoop wanted out. This meant that he was in a bad label situation. There was no way he was going to drag the kid into it. So Lil Bow Wow found himself in a limbo. The industry loved him. Fans were going to love him, but the time wasn't right. And the reason they knew this was because Bow Wow had already proved his mettle when Snoop Dogg got him on his Doggy Style album. He did all of the skits on that album. Lil Bow Wow also held his own on the Corrupt track After 3 that also featured Snoop Dogg. You could see that Snoop was doing his best to bring the kid along, but it wasn't just clicking. So Lil Bow Wow had to go back to school, back to a normal life. This was supposed to be the end of his career, but then Criss Cross happened. Criss Cross were a bunch of young kids that Jermaine Dupri had discovered just like Snoop Dogg had discovered Lil Bow Wow. But unlike Snoop, Jermaine had a family-friendly label So So Def that had the facilities and track record to catapult the kids to fame. By 1992, Criss Cross were a sensation, but by 1998, their career was on a steep decline, and this meant there was space for another child superstar on Dupri's roster. Lil Bow Wow's mother took him out of school and put him on a plane to meet Dupri. Immediately, Dupri could see what Snoop Dogg saw, the star.
Bow Wow's on Snoop's first album, and when he says, hey, you back there with them French braids, what you want to be when you grow up? He said, I want to be a motherfucking hustler. That's Bow Wow. And Bow Wow was like 9 years old when he said that. He might have been younger.
He was younger. He was 6. Don't mind Dupri, the OG is getting old. But his word is gold here, because under Dupri, Lil Bow Wow adopted a cleaner image than what he wanted. He wanted to be gangster, like Death Row. But Dupri knew there wasn't anything cute about a baby gangster. But there was talent here, and immediately they began working on his debut album, Beware of the Dog.
Criss Cross wasn't the group that he listened to. Bow Wow only listened to gangster rap music and whatever else was popular at the time. Right, so his whole mentality was that he was gonna rap and he was gonna curse and he was gonna and all of this. And I was just like, nah, that ain't.
That title goes hard. But even harder was the fact that it took just 2 weeks to get the album ready. The first single was officially released on August 8, 2000, called Bounce With Me. This track would end up peaking at number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was used in the Big Mama's House movie. Simple fact was, this track and Lil Bow Wow's rendition of it pumped some much needed lifeblood into So So Def, Dupree's label. So it only made sense to drop his debut album. Why wait, right? Good thinking. Because on the 26th of September 2000, Beware of the Dog was dropped. And boy, it was, well, let's just say it wasn't the hit they thought it would be. Because while the album did insanely well on the charts, number 8 on Billboard 200, it was a failure in the market, selling just a little over 100,000 copies within its first week. In fact, Shad Moss says it was actually a fraction of that number. Well, whatever the figures really were, the label was beginning to get weak knees for the kid rapper until they noticed something.
How we gonna do this? First of all, I want to thank God, you know what I'm saying? Without this, you know what I'm saying, this wouldn't even be possible.
Call it the Lil Bow Wow effect. Call it anything. The fact was, people loved the kid so much they would come out in their thousands just to see him breathe. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Could this kid probably one day sell out an entire stadium? Could he be the next MJ, or at least a version of Criss Cross that survives the first album? I mean, there was no gimmick here, just a kid rapping. So, the promising career. The decision had been made. The label wasn't going to drop Lil Bow Wow. In fact, they continued to push his album, spending marketing and promotion money. A second single was released, Bow Wow, That's My Name, featuring Snoop Dogg. The song did well on Billboard Hot 100, peaking at 21. The music video of this same track was so iconic that BET had to retire it from voting. The first ever, because fans wouldn't stop voting it as number 1. The label felt they had made the right bet. Lil Bow Wow was the truth. So they pushed yet another single, Puppy Love, and it peaked at 75 on the Billboard Hot 100. After this came Ghetto Girls, which peaked at 91 on the charts. After this, Lil Bow Wow became a certified superstar. He was a household name, and now it was time to prove himself on the road, time to tour, and he did. With Timberlake's In Sync, Lil Bow Wow toured America. His fans showed up like a cult. It was basically a meet and greet wherever he turned up, the ultimate publicity rollout. By the time Lil Bow Wow had come full circle on a year of touring, the label felt it was time for his sophomore album, but first a single. In 2001, Lil Bow Wow dropped Thank You, a single that was essentially an homage to his fans. It did 93 on the charts, but that didn't bother Lil Bow Wow or his label. There was gold in the pot, and with just one single out, his sophomore album, Doggy Bag, was let loose. His fans ate it up like hot Cheetos. 320,000 copies sold in the first week. Number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100. Yeah, now we're talking. That was star power right there. It was from this moment on that the floodgates just opened up to the teenager. Because the very next year, and at just the age of 15, Lil Bow Wow got a lead role in the sports classic film Like Mike. The movie was produced by the NBA and released 3 years after Michael Jordan finally retired from the sport, and it would end up being the most defining moment in Lil Bow Wow's rapid ascent to insane levels of fame. This movie helped him break into the white market. Now, he had both markets in a stranglehold. Now, his name was also in white households. Can you imagine how excited the label execs must have felt? How excited Jermaine Dupri would have felt? Especially when you consider that while the movie was named after Jordan, Lil Bow Wow was moving like he was a Jackson. The movie was a moderate success financially, but culturally it was rabid. Now, you've probably noticed something already about Lil Bow Wow if you've been following closely up to this moment. The little rapper had, all his life in the industry up to this point, had not really broken any records financially. In fact, by any neutral onlooker's standard, he was pretty mediocre commercially. But when it came to fame, clout, and all the other things that labels and record companies could easily monetize, Lil Bow Wow was 1% of the 1%. And that's why after this movie, Jermaine Dupri was certain that it was time for Lil Bow Wow to start touring under his own name. He was sure that Lil Bow Wow could and would sell out stadiums. Many critics did not believe him. They were skeptical. But Lil Bow Wow proved every one of them wrong. Lil Bow Wow was selling out a 20,000 capacity stadium like it was nothing. The teenager sold out Madison Square twice. There are not many rappers that have done that to this day. But was it not Denzel that said to the Fresh Prince Smith, "At your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you"? Well, it was after these stadium tours that Lil Bow Wow decided to move in a completely new direction, decided to part ways with Jermaine Dupri. The papers say they had creative differences. I'll say he had outgrown Dupri. But wait a minute, this ain't necessarily a good thing. You see, like I said before, after Snoop handed the kid to Dupri, Dupri set him on a different path, a path that went against the little boy's core, a core that he never let go, even after he experienced immense success under Dupri's guidance. Because deep inside him, Lil Bow Wow was still the 6-year-old kid that got signed to death row. He was still Kid Gangsta.
This nigga was signed to death row, right? That's in itself amazing. It's like, it's crazy. So I had to deal with this little guy's attitude when he came to me. Like,
I can't even imagine what that must have been like.
Like Bow Wow chased me with a knife when he was a kid.
And no, I'm not saying that after he left Dupree, he went back to his one true love. What I'm saying is because Lil Bow Wow didn't really come to terms to the new direction Dupree set him on, because secretly he didn't accept what he had become, and because he secretly resented the success he had experienced outside the gangster persona he would have preferred, Lil Bow Wow became lost after Jermaine Dupri. Some say he fell off, others say he was always lost. But one thing you must know is that it didn't happen all at once, because even if you don't know where you're going, you could fool anyone long enough in the early hours of your journey. No more Lil Bow. Wow, Shad Moss removed the Lil from his name. He was just Bow Wow now. He began to work on his new album, the first without Jermaine Dupri, The Fall of Bow Wow.
You are going now by just Bow Wow. No more Little.
No.
Why?
Because I'm getting older now. Just, trying to make a change.
Bow Wow was on his own now, and this was all him, his decision. Before now, the teenage rapper had never had to write his own lyrics. It was all Jermaine Dupri. He had no direct control over the material, but now, outside of Dupree's guidance, he now had that autonomy. And what that meant was the whole world was watching him to see if he had what it took to run his own ship on his own. And at first, it didn't seem like he was going to do so bad. At the very least, he was wise enough to know that he needed help. So he got T.I. to help him out, ghostwriting some of the tracks on his third album. On the 24th of June 2003, he dropped the first single off that album called Let's Get Down. The single peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was Bow Wow's highest charting single at that time. Things were looking good, but they got even better when he then dropped his third album called Unleashed on the 19th of August 2003. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, another all-time high for him. This album showcased a more mature and introspective side of Bow Wow as he delved into personal experiences and emotions, and it featured collaborations with renowned artists such as Jagged Edge and Mario. But Bow Wow was not satisfied with the success. It wasn't enough. It wasn't a differentiator. Sure, he had a trove of loyal fans that wanted more from him, but he also wanted more from himself. He wanted leverage, because to keep it $150, Bow Wow was really just Criss Cross with extra steps at this point. It was only a matter before someone or something pulled the plug and the man would fall to irrelevance. So in 2004, the teenage rapper decided to shift his focus to Hollywood. In that same year, he landed a lead role in the Johnson Family Vacation movie, and then in 2005, he landed the lead role for Roll Bounce. This period was important for Bow Wow because it seemed like working in Hollywood and seeing how there were so many moving parts and so many experienced, brilliant people at the wheels got him to make a beeline back to Jermaine Dupri, because that's exactly what happened. They began working on his fourth studio album together, and on the 11th of March 2005, they released Let Me Hold You, a track that went on to Bow Wow's highest charting single to date, when it ended up peaking at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was after this that they dropped Wanted, his fourth studio album. This was July 12th, 2005, and it debuted number 3 on the Billboard 200. Whatever Dupri cooked, worked. Wanted was a critical and commercial success that solidified Bow Wow's position as one of the industry's most promising talents. The album showcased his growth as an artist and his ability to navigate different genres, from R&B infused tracks to high-energy hip-hop anthems. And when 2 other singles from the album peaked at number 3, the word on the street was that Bow Wow was officially an undeniable star. This was the proof of concept he needed. He was on top of the world. My man went on tour and even brought Breezy along. By the time he was done, he was ready for his next studio album. In 2006, Bow Wow released his 5th studio album, The Price of Fame. While the album didn't achieve the same level of success as his previous works, it still showcased Bow Wow's dedication to his craft and his willingness to experiment with different sounds and styles. Bow Wow had proved the system wrong. He was gonna last, right? Not so fast. Because whether he knew it or not, Bow Wow's career was on a downward spiral. Dupri wasn't wrong when Bow Wow still had that death row kid gangsta in him. The unfortunate part of it had followed him into his adulthood, and so as social media became more and more of a thing, the world, his fans, got to see just how goofy he was. The homie was always trying to stunt, and he just couldn't keep his mouth shut. Little by little, that became the priority, stunting. His music career died a slow death in the years leading to 2010. First a collab album with Omarion, then a 7th album that did considerably worse than all his previous albums, but wasn't so bad. But this is when things officially took a dip. He had finished his contract with Columbia Records and was now independent / he joined Cash Money at its peak. I'm talking a roster of Drake, Nicki, Lil Wayne. What could go wrong? Everything. He couldn't compete, and to be honest, his artistry paled in comparison. So it was not surprising when his next project, titled Underrated, kept getting delayed. And to make matters even worse, Bow Wow's life off the mic was deconstructing his legacy.
I got a record I'm about to drop today that I already pre-recorded because I knew you was gonna come up, fumble up on some bullshit. And when this record drop, it's tombstone for you, little homie. We all gonna lay roses on your coffin.
From personal struggles to legal troubles, it seemed like he could never catch a break. It was probably all of this unnecessary drama that ran him under. Because by 2012, there was still no album and he was broke. He was sued by a bank over the repossession of a Lamborghini Murcielago that he owned and had defaulted payments on. Social media lit up at that time with the news, but Bow Wow denied he was broke, insisting that he was financially comfortable. The key word there was comfortable, but he wasn't rich. He couldn't afford the lifestyle he was projecting, and it was going to get even worse. Because later that year, Bow Wow faced legal battles over child support, further adding to his mounting troubles. This time, he couldn't deny what was now clear to see, what he had to confess in court. At Cash Money Records, he was only earning $4,000 a month, and adding up all the bills on his neck, Bow Wow had just about $1,500 a month for personal use. By any standard in the industry and even blue-collar America, Bow Wow's finances was in the gutter. What the hell happened? Well, the rumor was that he withheld money from the court and he actually had more money than he revealed. Add that to the fact that he became one of the hosts of 106 in Park. It really didn't look good for the Kid Gangsta. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't on the 106 in Park gig. It was solid and most definitely paid well, but it was a clear indication that Bow Wow was scraping the bottom of the pot to stay fed, because no recording artist with an active career would have the time for any of that. But it gets worse, cause in the years that would follow, Bow Wow would turn from that cute little rapper everyone loved to a goofy ass nigga wanting to flex a lifestyle he couldn't financially front. First off, he had to leave Cash Money because they weren't releasing his album. Then he would go on to announce again to his fans who had dried out that an album was coming, and that Lil Wayne, DMX, and Snoop would be on it. There was no album. Once again, he was tripping. At this point, fans began feeling like he wasn't even interested in the music at all. The man was lost, and the fans were right, because in 2016, he finally announced he was quitting music. And if you think things were bad before, they became a whole lot worse from here on. Lil Bow Wow's online presence became a topic of discussion and controversy. He made headlines for his provocative and attention-grabbing posts, often stirring up controversy and attracting criticism. One notable incident involved a fake private jet photo that he posted on Instagram, which sparked a wave of backlash and ridicule, and led to a viral period in meme culture called the Bow Wow Challenge. On May 9th of 2017, Bow Wow uploaded a photo of a private jet and a few fancy cars, implying that he was taking it to New York. He captioned it, "Travel Day, NYC Press Run for Growing Up Hip Hop. Let's go. I promise to bring y'all the hottest show ever. May 25th on WeTV." Turns out that Bow Wow was actually on a commercial flight instead of the nice little private jet. Unfortunately for him, a passenger on his same flight snapped a picture of the rapper riding coach and posted it online for everyone to see. Bow Wow responded by saying that the photo of him flying coach was old, but the internet didn't care and began calling out Bow Wow for lying about a luxurious lifestyle, which then turned into the Bow Wow Challenge. These controversies, coupled with his legal troubles, painted a picture of a young artist struggling to find his place in the ever-changing landscape of the entertainment industry. The pressure to maintain his image and the constant scrutiny of the public took a toll on Lil Bow Wow's mental well-being, and while you can say he brought it all on himself, he was still trapped. However, there was some effort to escape. He created his own show called Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta, providing a platform to share his experiences and connect with a new generation of fans. Through his show, he aimed to shed light on the realities of fame and the struggles that come with it. It was critically panned but commercially accepted because of the drama it came with. At this point, any hope of musical success was far behind him. Sure, he could pop out of the ether from time to time and release one mixtape or one track or the other, but there was nothing there. No one was listening like that. Nothing real. His music was tied to his image, and his image has been in the gutter for more than a decade. And while I would be the first to tell you that he is still a legend in the game, if not for anything, for the impact his childhood, the truth is, Bow Wow was done. It's tragic.